single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hey there, Cerise here. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to Story Time. Story Time today is coming from Cabarete. Yes, I'm on the coast of Cabarete in the north coast of the Dominican Republic. All right, guys. This story is a story of deception. This is a story about a woman who deceived a man, and in a very interesting way. Before I get into any more about that, let me just give you the backdrop about these characters. We have Lucia, and then we're also going to have Ricky. So Lucia is Haitian. Oh, you guys are going to hear some music right now. There we go. I'm located on a main highway here across from the beach, so you are going to hear some traffic. So Lucia and Ricky, it sounds like Ricky and Lucy, Ricardo and Lucy. No intention on that one, but we'll stick with it. We'll keep flowing with it. All right, so we have Ricky. Now, Lucia is Dominican / Haitian. So she was born here in the Dominican Republic, but her parents are Haitian. Okay, so she's Dominican Haitian. So she considers herself Haitian, but she considers herself Dominican culture. So she's been here all her life. Now, she is a little bit of an older woman. She is, get this, 50 years old. Not an old woman, but for her to be playing the game that she did, it just doesn't make sense at her age. But I guess we don't judge in these stories, right? We just comment and we pass our own opinion. Now here, let's get to what she did. She basically tricked this man, and he feels like he was made a fool of. He feels like what happened, he should have thought twice throughout the whole process. Now, this is what happened. She's 50 years old. Like I said, Haitian descent, but Dominican born. And she's 50 years old. Her children are already born. She's a grandmother. And she is working in different restaurants as a cleanup woman, and she also works in different hotels and stuff as a maid, and different residential areas as a maid. And one day she was cleaning this gentleman's house in one of the residential areas in Sosua. Now, let's get to the backdrop on this American man. This American man, he came here and he's a veteran. He watched a lot of vlogs of us vloggers, and he said he was so interested in coming here and buying, not even necessarily living and retiring in residential areas, but coming here, staying in a residential area for a moment, figuring out what area he wants to be in, buying, and then building. And that was what he wanted to do, hands down, and nobody was going to change his mind. So said, so done. But in the process is when he met this woman. So he was in one of the residential areas, and she was the maid for his location. She was the maid for his villa. And he really liked her. You know, he was staying in the villa for a month while he was traveling the island looking at where he wanted to buy. And he found a few places. And so, you know, he was like really taken by her. He felt like she was not necessarily young in age. She was mature, but she didn't look like she was mature. She really gave off a young vibe and a fun vibe and a happy-go-lucky vibe, and he really appreciated her. So when he did buy his land and he built, it took about 5 months to build. And he said he was building, and so this is what happened. he came here for a month to look for the land. When he came here, he really connected with her. They ended up getting intimate, and she understood that he was intimate with other girls as well who were pay to play, working girls. She understood that. She understood the game. But she also understood that he was going to get tired of that eventually because he kept saying that to her. And she also understood that she's good enough for him to get tired with, right? So he could have his fun and everything, but at least he has that one good backbone, that one good woman here that he knows could be the wifey, the one that he could settle down with. And so she knew she could offer him that after he was tired with the rest. So she was patient for a while. So he was here for a month. He found the land he wanted to build on, and then he went back. Sorry, that was a phone call coming in. I don't know if it stopped the recording, but I'll just kind of go back. So he was here for a month. He found his land, and then he decided he was going to come back when it was finished. When it was finished, he came back and he built himself a 5 bedroom villa, but each bedroom had its own little apartment. So it was like a studio apartment. And so he could rent them out on Airbnb and stuff of that nature. So when he came back to live in this 5 studio villa, if you will, one studio was going to be for him. So everything started to get really, really good for him in regards to just renting out his places to actually locals here, Dominicans and everything. He said that he started to rent out his place to Dominicans and Haitians, not at cheap prices either. He said at regular nightly prices and some weekend prices, and locals were really renting from him and everything. So he said that in Airbnb, he was getting people from Airbnb. Everything was going great. Everything was doing well. He hired her to do all the cleaning because he was in touch with her after he left. During that 5 months when he was back in America, he had her go over and watch the process, and he had her do some of the cleaning up. He had her to do some of the designing, some of the, buying of the furniture. He also hired her to clean the place. And they were also, part-time lovers. So eventually he decided that he just wasn't making it to Sosua as much. He didn't buy in Sosua. He wasn't making it to Sosua as much. And he started to treat her more like a wife. He started to treat her more at first like a girlfriend and then like a wife. And he said to me, Cerise, I was treating her so much like a wife, I didn't even realize it. I was taking her out for dinner all the time. I was showing her around, because she wasn't from Las Terranas. That's where he bought Las Terranas. And she wasn't there, she wasn't there before. And so he took her around. When she would go and check on the place, it wasn't that she was, because he had rented a place for her in Las Terranas. So she would go from the little apartment that he rented for her to watch the building of everything, take photos for him, take videos for him, watch everything, make sure everyone was working. So she managed in that way, right? But she didn't really go around to the restaurants and to the expat areas because she didn't really have that money to go out to restaurants herself. So when he arrived back in town, that's what he started to do with her. And that's how he wifed her. He just took her out to restaurants and bars. And, she started to feel like she was really a part of him. And he said he could feel that. And then it started to become natural for him. He started to get used to her being in his bed every night. He started to get used to her taking care of him, doing all the cooking, doing all the laundry. And always... There's some traffic again. And always making sure that the fridge was packed, the bills were paid. He just knew how much he had to give her every month for everything, and she took care of everything. And nothing else bothered him until one day, he was in Sosua and he met a beautiful woman, a younger woman that he started to really enjoy, and he enjoyed her company and he really liked her. So he started, instead of bringing her, taking her to his villa in Las Terranas, he would go down and visit her every weekend in Sosua, and he put her up in a nice little place, and with her mother and everything, and he would visit her every weekend. And so after that, that's when Lucia started to realize that, okay, he's going to Sosua every weekend and he's going to get away. So what did she do? She told him in the beginning, let's back up a little bit. In the beginning, when they first started to get intimate and everything, he asked her if she was on the birth control pill, and she told him she wasn't because she wasn't, and she was truthful. She told him that she hadn't had her period in 2 months, and that before that she didn't have it for a month, and before that she didn't have it regularly for 2 years. So she's going through menopause, and there's no way she can get pregnant. He told me he still never made a mistake. One night he made a mistake. Only one night he made a mistake with her, and not even all the way a mistake, enough to say it was a mistake. And he said he didn't pull out quickly enough, but he pulled out enough to say that it was safe, if you get what I mean. But he said that it just kept nagging him. So he asked her that next morning to go get a morning after pill, and she did get a morning after pill, and he watched her swallow it, and she didn't get her period afterwards. And he said, okay, well, they asked the doctor, and the doctor said she probably didn't get her period because she's going through menopause, and the pill's not going to work the same. So he said, okay, and he realized, okay, she's going through menopause, that's great, she didn't lie about that, and that's it. So now fast forward months and months later, what happens? She says she's pregnant. That's right. She goes to him and she says that she's pregnant, and because she realizes he's going out every weekend. So she went to the dollar store and she bought herself a pregnancy test, but she, instead of putting, like, it obviously showed up with one line, but it's supposed to show up with 2 lines. The other line she colored in with a Bic pen. With a Bic pen, she colored in both lines. So one line came out kind of red, right? And she just colored in a little bit more. And then she put in a little line beside it on the same stick, on the same pregnancy stick, to make it look like there's 2 red lines. And it made it look like she was really pregnant. And so he says, looking back on it, he should have done more. Like, for instance, he got home that weekend and she told him she was pregnant, and she said he said she was crying, and she was saying, oh, she's pregnant, what is she going to do? And he said, okay, well, you know what, don't worry about it, we'll go to the doctor and we will get you a real pregnancy test, because he said that she showed him the stick. He said, looking back on it, he should have said to her, okay, well, let's go to the pharmacy right now and buy a few of them, because this one maybe is wrong, and then he could have gotten her to prove, like, pee in front of him on the stick. But he couldn't imagine for the life of him where she would get this red Bic pen. And also, if it was really pregnancy, where would she get a pregnant woman to pee on this pregnancy stick type of thing? So he said he was just out of his head, because he was also not wanting to have a child with this 50-year-old woman. So he said, all right, excuse me, he said to her, we'll go to the doctor. Well, when they went to the doctor, the doctor sent them for blood tests. They got the blood tests back. The next day they went back to the doctor for the blood tests, and she started to cry. Now, he doesn't understand Spanish, and the doctor didn't speak English. So the doctor couldn't tell him anything, and he didn't think to take out his recorder, with his cell phone, and record a voice note on WhatsApp for a friend that does speak Spanish, or like his new girlfriend. He could have sent it to her to ask what the conversation was, but he assumed that, yes, she was pregnant because she started to cry. But here it was. Okay, I don't want to make this story too long. When he found out she wasn't pregnant, he went back to that doctor and he asked the doctor, why did you say she was pregnant? The doctor said, in Spanish to Ricky's translator. Ricky took a translator with him to the doctor, and the translator said, like, why did you tell Ricky that this woman was pregnant? She wasn't pregnant, you lied. The doctor said, I never said that at all. She cried because she wasn't pregnant. I told her she wasn't pregnant, and she cried. And Ricky was like, oh, right? And Ricky thought she cried because she was pregnant and she didn't want to be pregnant either. She told Ricky she didn't want to be pregnant. She was crying when he got home, when she initially told him and showed him the stick. So he was like, oh, shoot, she really doesn't want to be pregnant either. So this must be real. It's not even like she was really happy, you know? So when she cried in the office for the second time around, he's like, well, she really doesn't want to be pregnant either. And so but she didn't want to get an abortion, she told him, because she was too religious. So, in this country, abortion is not openly accepted or available, readily available, the way it is in North America. So, Ricky was like, all right, well, we're just gonna have to have the baby. And he was stuck. He said he didn't know what to do, but there was no way it could be another man's baby. He knew that because she was at the villa all the time, all the way out in Las Terranas, and even on weekends that he was gone, he knew she wasn't going to be with another man. She's 50 years old. She's not the type of woman to go to clubs. She always was like cooking in the kitchen or just watching TV movies or sitting in the backyard, peeling habichuelas, stuff like that, like the beans. And she was really a woman that worked on the home, in the home all the time. And so he knew that if she was pregnant, it was his child. But he just went with the flow. Eventually, he started to really clean up the back part of the house. Now, he started to clean up the back part of the house for her. He decided he's not going to be with her. He decided, and he said to her, we never really were a couple. You know that. I never really said you were my wife or my girlfriend out in public. I just took you everywhere with me, but I introduced you as my friend to everyone, and you know that. So now what I'm going to do is the back part of the villa, I'm going to make it into a nice casita, a nice 2-bedroom apartment for you and the baby, and you guys will live there. I will support you with everything. I'll take care of my child, but I need you to know we're not together. Guys, I'm just drinking some beet juice right now. It's sweetened just enough to not be too sweet, but also not to be too raw. It's delicious. You can get it natural. Ask any natural juice place here. It's called Jugo Naturale. You'll see Jugo, Jugo, and then Naturale. And you got to get them on the street. They're so delicious, made with real fruit and vegetables. I digress. Sorry. Let me get back to what I was saying. So now, she didn't like the idea very much. Because he had the place fixed up for her quite quickly. And he put her out, like he had that casita fixed up within a month and a half. And he had her out there, and he told her that he had someone new. And he said, listen, I'm talking to other women now. And, I have someone that I'm interested in. And I told her about you. She doesn't mind if you're here and you live here and you live in the casita as the baby grows. And we'll make sure we take care of everything. Now, remember, at this point, he still thinks she's pregnant. Now, she's purposely putting on weight. She's purposely eating and everything. He had that new place built for her a month and a half, and she's sitting out in the casita outside every day. She's still cooking for him in the main house. She's still cleaning the main house, and she's still doing everything. But then within about, 5 months, she's like gained a lot of weight. She gained so much weight. And he said to her, wow, like you are big. Like you are really overweight. You can't be cleaning the house any longer the way you were. You're probably going to put pressure on the baby. I don't want you in the house any longer. My girlfriend will come over and clean more. Now, the girlfriend at this time was over every now and again, but he was very respectful with her presence. So, on the days that she was visiting and stuff like that, he would tell Lucia that they would be by the pool, and he would ask Lucia to not drop by. And, he would say that he doesn't need her help that day in the house. And so she would stay in the casita. And she knew that the girl was visiting, but the girl didn't live with them in Las Terranas. So for her, it was like, okay, it is what it is. Like she can just let it pass. But when he said to Lucia that he's no longer going to need her services in the house because she's getting too fat, too big, and that it might be pressure on the baby, and that he's going to bring his girlfriend up more to cook and clean, Lucia didn't like that very much. So now he said he was about 7 months into the pregnancy with Lucia, and the girlfriend said to him, when are you guys going for your ultrasound? And he said he didn't know that Lucia is the one going for them. And the girl said to him, his girlfriend said to him, I don't think she's pregnant. Like, she does not look pregnant. She just looks fat. And she looks like she's eating a lot. And he's like, oh, come on. He said, Ricky said to his new girlfriend, come on, please don't start this jealousy stuff. All you women start this jealousy stuff. You don't need to do that. And she said to him, it's not jealousy. It's common sense. This woman does not look pregnant. This woman does not act pregnant. There's something that's just woman's intuition. And I sense that she is not pregnant and she's just trying to hold on to you. And so Ricky said, all right, I'll ask her. So he did. He said to Lucia, he said, when's your next doctor appointment? And Lucia said, oh, next week. And he said, I want to go with you. And she said, okay, I'll let you know when it is. And so the next week came and it passed. And he said to her, the girlfriend said to him, where did you go to the appointment? And he said, no, Lucia didn't tell me when it was supposed to be. So the girlfriend said, ask her what happened at the appointment. So he asked and he said, what happened at the appointment? And Lucia said, oh yeah, I forgot to invite you. Everything's good. And he said, did you get an ultrasound done? And she said, yes. And he said, oh, okay, well, I'd like to see the results of it. And she said, oh, okay, they didn't take a picture or anything. They just gave me the results, and everything's growing good and everything's well. And so he said to me at that point, he felt a lump in his throat. He felt like someone stabbed him in his back. He said at that point, he just felt like she's lying. He knew she was lying, but he couldn't prove it. And at this point, he was also scared because he felt like she was going to try and hurt him or do something to him. He didn't know how to remove her from the property. So he went to his girlfriend and he told his girlfriend everything, even about his fear. And the girlfriend said, I want her off these grounds tonight. And he said, well, we have no reason to ask her to leave. And she said, well, we're going and we're going to buy some tests. And we're going to get some tests and we're going to make sure she takes them. So they went to the pharmacy. They got a few pregnancy tests. They went back to the house and he asked her. The girlfriend didn't go with him. The girlfriend stayed in the main house in the villa. And he went back to the casita and he asked Lucia to take the pregnancy tests. And Lucia refused. Lucia said, how dare you? Your girlfriend is here and you are second guessing my pregnancy, our pregnancy. This is not you. Why are you acting like this? And he said, no, I think you're misreading it. It's just that, it will make me feel more comfortable if you took the tests and prove it to me. And she just started to go off the deep end. She went into the kitchen. She was cooking. She started to throw everything all over the place. And he said to me, Cerise, the way she went off, I knew I had a reason to be scared. And then she went and she slammed the door, kicked him out, pushed him out of the door, out of the living room door area, and she slammed it and she locked it and she told him, go away. And he did go away. He locked up the villa. It was a low time for the villa anyway. None of the apartments were rented. The one apartment he told me that was rented was by a guy who he just told him, that hold it down, be quiet. The guy was a long-term rental guy anyway, long-term rental tenant. So he told him, just hold it down, just, keep six for him kind of thing, really watch out for him. And then so that was it. him and his girlfriend, they left. They went to Sosua to hang out in Sosua, and they placed a phone call to her from Sosua after being in Sosua for 2 days, and she wasn't answering the phone or anything. So he decided that, he was going to have her removed. So he spoke to a police officer in Las Terranas when they got back to Las Terranas, and the police went with them to his house, and they couldn't force her to take the test, but they were willing with him, and they said to the lady, they said, listen, to Lucia. And they said, listen, if you take the test, you can stay if the test comes out positive, even if he can't prove it's his child right now. Like, it only makes sense. But if you don't take the test, he has every right to ask you to leave his property. Like, he owes you nothing. Severance pay for a few months' rent. That's it. And a few months' work with him, right? So she knew that what they were saying was logical. So she agreed to take the test. When she took the test, this time she didn't have the red pen. Obviously, there was no red pen. So what did she do? Well, she went inside and she opened the back of the test. Okay, I don't know how or why she would do this, but he said by the time she got back, you could see that the test was tampered with. He said she tried to figure out a way to mess that test up. So when she got back to them, they looked at it and they're like, what is this? Like, this is broken apart pretty much. Like, this isn't, you can't even see where anything is. So take another test, because they had bought a couple of them, right? So she went in and she decided that she was just going to take the test. And then she went back out and she gave them the test, and it was negative. And they all said, okay, well, you have to leave the premises. And she looked at Ricky and she said, can she stay the night at least? She said, look, the test is taken. You know the truth now. At least work with her a little moment and let her at least sleep the night and figure out what she's going to do for the next morning. And so Ricky agreed to it. And by the time he woke up, and he trusted her. He trusted her. And that she would, be trustworthy, but he didn't trust her with his life. Him and his girlfriend, they left again. They stayed this time in a hotel room in an Airbnb in Las Terranas. They gave her the night to do what she had to do. But what did she do? He forgot that she knew the code to his security deposit box up in his bedroom. There's a staircase that goes all the way up to his bedroom. And she went up that staircase, somehow broke into his room. He swears that she had a key, because he said he used to have a private bedroom, a room where, like, an office, a room that he could also sleep in. And, it was really just so he could go up when he got home drunk at night. He said he could go up those back stairs without having to worry about waking up anyone else, like any of his guests in the house or anything, and he could just go straight upstairs to his bedroom. So sorry about the background noise. So in any case, he feels she had the key to that, but he couldn't figure out how she could make a copy of that at all. But ironically, obviously she did somehow. So she got up there, and that's also where he kept his deslenda for his home, the villa. That's where he kept everything: money, jewelry. He had really expensive things in there, tiny things as well. He said, like diamonds, that he had in that room that he thought nobody in the world had any access to. And here she went and robbed it blind, took everything out of it, even his great grandmother's wedding ring, everything. He said there was stuff in there that was so valuable that could never be replaced, and she just took it all. And he said he could never imagine that she would be the type of woman to go and do that. Like, he said it was such revenge, such a vengeful act, that he didn't think anyone would have that in them. Oh, and also, what did she do? She ripped up all his baby photos. She ripped up awards that his grandfather got from being in the war. She set fire to a Purple Heart that his grandfather got. Just a lot of different things that went down with what she did that he just can't forgive. But he just wanted me to say, it's crazy how some women feel that they have the power to take hold of somebody else's property and destroy it just because they had certain plans with that man. He tells me today, these days he's telling me that if he could change things, he would. He said even now, with this new girlfriend, he's feeling smothered. He said he's happy that she helped him out and helped him get rid of the other one. But again, this one he feels like he's starting to feel she feels wifed. And now he doesn't want to feel like he's taking on another serious relationship. He says, yes, he's tired of being with the working girls and he's tired of being with all types of different women, but he still wants to keep himself open to the possibility of finding someone else. So I said to him, the soul coach in me, I said, if you feel that you still want to meet someone else, then that means that it's important for you to tell this woman that you are not wifing her. Be very clear with her. Be very open with her. Don't let her feel for any moment that you are going to be with her for a very long time. Because some women can get very attached. They don't want to let go. And if he is the type of guy that attracts that type of woman, then he has to be very careful not to give mixed signals. Being with them all the time and taking them into your bed all the time and having them live with you like they are a wife can come across like they are growing on you and that you are now accepting them as your fate. Do you get what I mean? A lot of the times they don't realize that they're just really good company, a companion, until you find that person that you want to make your everyday life person, your person. A lot of the times people don't understand that they are a companion. They are a reason. They are a season. And they may not be a lifetime with you. A lot of the times you need to negotiate some type of agreement. If you're the type of person that cheats, don't get into a serious relationship. Make sure if you are getting into something that seems like it's growing deeply, talk about it. Bring it to the table. Tell the person, I really am feeling you. I dig you. I feel you're such a cool person. But at this moment in my life, I'm enjoying the companionship with you and I'm not thinking about a commitment for a lifetime. I enjoy being with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's not that I feel you cannot keep up with me. It's just I don't have that vibe to stay committed right now. Be honest with them. Perhaps that could change in the future because we're getting along so well right now. I love being with you. I love being around you. But there's just something still that needs to connect before we get to that point of being connected completely. Be honest with them. Tell them truthfully. And let them know. I said to him, let her know. And if she doesn't like it, and if she cops an attitude, then you know she's already there. She's already caught feelings, and she's already about to get sour. So be careful. Maybe have her stay at the house less and less. Maybe let her know that, you will visit her more often and you don't want her at your place getting too comfortable. After she's not there for a while, she won't feel as comfortable. She won't feel like it's her place. You may have to make some sacrifices, even though you may want to spend every night with her until you get tired of her. You may have to make some sacrifices and spend some nights with other people. If you are getting too comfortable sticking with her and you know that comfort level is not something that's going to stick, it's just something that you feel comfortable with now, you should change it up a little bit just in respect of her feelings. Let her realize that every now and again she is not a priority. And you will see with time that this will help women not get so obsessed especially women that may be looking for something a little bit more like security, financial security, emotional stability. Maybe they're not looking to be a partner only to be a partner because they can bring to the table what you can. Maybe they can't bring to the table what you can, and maybe they're hurt emotionally. Maybe they are suspended in their life financially, and they're looking for a lot more in you. It's really important for you to keep that open avenue of communication, to be able to tell them exactly where you're coming from and exactly what they can expect from where you're coming from. There's nothing bad in it. You're being straightforward with it, and you're not telling them that you're a player. You're just telling them that this is something you need to discuss with them from the beginning so they understand it. A lot of feelings can grow very quickly, especially when a woman is being treated like a queen and she's not used to being treated that greatly. It's very difficult for her to go back and be treated the way she was once before she met you. Okay, so keep in mind people's feelings, not just your feelings, not just your desires, but always sacrifice every now and again your desires for the humanitarian concerns of another. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Oh, yeah, the moral of the story, he just doesn't know how to get rid of this new one, but he will. And oh, the moral of the story, the other woman, she got away with all the goods. He couldn't prove that she took them. He didn't have a camera. He's telling me now that now he'll get one. He has one of those cameras in his room, and he has one of those apps that it goes straight to his cell phone. And he's also going to get one for outside. He's going to get one for his car. He has one. So he has quite a few things that he has to get to make better security in his villa. But at the end of the day, he says that he's ready to make a move again and just live the solo life. And he wants me to encourage you guys to tell you guys, don't take on too many serious relationships at one time. Give yourself a rest and know what you're doing when you're getting in with one person. Alrighty, and make sure they don't have your keys to anything. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for taking your time to listen. Once again, I'm Cerise Fairfax, and please, if you like this video, put a thumbs up for me so I know what content you're feeling. Alrighty, take care, everyone. Big blessings, huge hugs, and loads of love.
Every single day